Oh, welcome to Sonia's podcast, Sweet News and Dry Humor. So let me first say, I would like to thank everybody that's still supporting my What's 311. I really appreciate that. Um, I was speaking to this gentleman and he told me that he really liked it and it's really informative and he liked all the guests that's on there. And I told him, I said, you know what? I really appreciate that. I appreciate that, I still got people out there supporting my What's the 311 podcast. So he asked me, was that the first podcast I ever made? I told him no. The very first podcast I ever made was Relationships Do's and Don'ts. What's the 311 came along when COVID was happening. So we was trying to put out information and be informative so, everyone that needed help at that time or was in a situation at that time, because you remember we had a lot going on. So I had guests come on and we talked about everything. And I do mean everything. We even traveled. And people still ask me today, like, Sonia, are you still going to go back to Traveling Tuesdays? Because that's what it was called, Traveling Tuesdays. So, yeah, I'll throw a little traveling in. Because, as the guy was telling me, he was like, you know what, Sonia? He was like, What's the 311 is like really great. He says, so you know what I was thinking? He said, I listened to your Sweet News and Dry Humor. He was like, so, I know maybe you just started it or something. I told him, no, actually, I didn't just start it. It's my third podcast. I told him, cause I said relationships Do's and Don'ts was my first. What's the 311? But see, relationship Do's and Don'ts have second part and a third part, which is relationships Do's and Don'ts 2 and intimate connection. That's all connected together. So I was like, so what's the 311 was just, it was based on cultural and social. That's what we covered. And we also covered traveling. And then we covered like story time, true crime. So, and then this Sweet News Dry Humor came in as a replica of What's the 311. So he suggested, he said, as go along, maybe you should talk about different things because, I know some of the times when I listen to it, it has like a similarity to What's the 311, which he said, I totally love that podcast, which I told him thank you because it's like the third podcast all over the country. It's in the third percentile. So I was like, okay, so he was like, won't we he said like, throw a joke in there or something, because it says Sweet News and Dry Humor. So, you could throw a joke in there and you can also talk about different things, just make it different from What's the 311. So I'm going to come to y'all. That's what I'm going to do because before I get into the true crime story my best friend Billy gave me, I'm going to ask y'all, as my audience, do y'all want to hear in Sweet News and Dry Humor a joke or two? It's actually going to change up a lot of it because so many people have given me so many different things to talk about. So a lot of the sweet news, because I want the Sweet News and Dry Humor, to be honest